Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Tainted Lands Mist of Mournton. I am RJ Cresswell, the Dungeon Master, and we're going to meet everyone else here shortly, but first, during last week's session, your party fled to the courtyard of Mournton Manor to escape the assault on the village. Within the palisades, you helped the townsguard shore up the gate as it was being battered by the eyeless, misshapen things from the Wailing Woods. From there, you sought refuge within the stables alongside terrified villagers, and Wallace and Junie shared moments with Sir Kay as he explained that he believed magic compelled him to turn on the party in the streets of Mournton. The next morning, Toby sought to comfort villagers, and Wynne provided medical aid to those who needed it. Sir Kay and Junie looked over the palisades to survey the carnage of last night's attack. Smoke hung in the cold air, villagers lay dead in the streets, and several buildings were burned to the ground. While this was happening, Wallace spoke with a townsguard and asked him to take word to Dame Emily Mournton that he'd like an audience with her. Afterward, the party revealed to Toby that they had hired a midwife named Signy to break the Blackstone's enchantment, and everyone was surprised when he left the stables upset. Then the townsguard arrived and led the remaining party members to Mournton Manor to speak with Dame Emily Mournton. While speaking with Emily, Signy emerged and said, "The outsiders have brought this upon us. I know this because they came to see me yesterday, and they had a black stone that was bound to something evil. I could feel it watching and trying to call out, so I used my magic to break the enchantment. It was them." And that is where we pick up tonight's session. But before we go any further, take a moment to introduce yourselves, tell us who you're playing, and reveal something important that you've lost in the chaos of the attack and the fire. Eric, if you'll start us off.
Hello to anyone and everyone watching. I'm Eric. I play Sir Kay, and something lost during the fire would definitely be the greatsword. He's had that since session 1, and now it's just sort of in the middle of Mournton somewhere after he got knocked unconscious. So,
okay, Jess.
I play Wynne. She's a high elf druid, and she probably left her armor and shield back in her room, because she probably didn't put them on as she was escaping the building.
Okay. Kristen.
Hello, I'm Kristen. I play Toby, a rock gnome warlock. In the chaos, he lost his component pouch, which is super important to him, to put just everything that he finds, like everything that he can hold on to for later and try to experiment with. Yeah, he doesn't have any armor. I mean, he has mage armor, but nothing that he would carry around with him.
Okay. Lewis.
My name's Lewis. I play as Wallace, who is a dwarven cleric. Something he would have left would probably be his prayer book to his deity, which is Neom the Untold.
Okay. All right, then. Well, I would also like to point out before we go any further that we do have another player who couldn't join us tonight. Chandel normally plays a character named Junie for us, and she's going to be out for a couple of weeks, but we look forward to having her back soon. So, beyond that, I do believe, let's see, at least one of you, Jess, has a plot point remaining. You may choose to use that during tonight's session if you would like. But you don't have to. You have it until you use it.
Okay.
So, just pausing for a second because it looked like Lewis dropped out.
I don't know if his
But we do this.
audio
I'll put us on break screen and kill our audio until he comes back.
If I drop out again, just don't worry. I'll just come back in.
Okay. Fair enough. Let us keep it. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, Jess, you have the plot point, which you may choose to use, but you're not compelled to use it tonight. You have it until you decide to use it. But it is there, as a reminder.
Okay.
So, this is where we resume our story tonight. Signy lets her bony, accusatory finger hover in the air as the words, "It was them," ring out through the halls of Mournton Manor. 7 towns guards surround you. 3 behind the party, these are the ones who led you in, and 4 flanking Dame Emily. They stand at ready with halberds, awaiting either a command or an offense. Emily looks towards you and says, "Is this true?"
I'm going to look at her and I'm going to say, "Do you really think it's true? I didn't even know who you were and I saved your life. Why on earth would I try to hurt you or have any ill will come of this town? We're coming here literally offering ourselves to help you. There's no need for all this."
Beyond that, what my friend Wallace says is true, but at the same time, Signy, while we did bring that stone into the town, we had no idea what it was until we brought it to you to be identified. And then we immediately paid to have it destroyed. If we had wanted any harm to come to this town, we wouldn't have brought it to you at all. So your accusation doesn't exactly help the situation. Instead of accusing us of doing something wrong, how about you put your many years of wisdom to use, helping us all come up with a collective solution for this problem?
With
And I'm
that,
just staring down Signy.
okay. She looks first to Wallace, or she's looking at you as you're speaking, and then she looks back to Wallace, and then back to you, and sort of ignores Junie and Wen. She says, "You mercenary rat catchers enter villages and try to play hero for pay, often causing more problems than you solve. You can say what you like and plead your merits, but make no mistake, knowingly or unwittingly, you brought this mayhem upon us. I saw my home burn, and my neighbors die in the streets. Those things tore the baker apart in front of my eyes before dragging her into the shadows, and I glimpsed it, the thing that watches, sunken red eyes set beyond skin like a corpse. Then I felt it in my head, sensing me and judging me insignificant. I cast magics of my own against it, but to no avail. It was as if it were warded against it. Now you stand here indignant. Humble yourselves and answer for what you've done."
I'm just gonna stand there and look at her, and I'm going to say, "You call me a rat catcher. My name is Sir Cadron Lorinar, Knight of the Road, and I expect you to address me as such. Beyond that, I'll have you know we were out there fighting ourselves on our way in. I was knocked unconscious as well. I know exactly what happened to this town. I dove out a second-story window of a burning building with my friend. I know exactly what happened to this town. Beyond that, we're trying to solve the problem, and it would have been an inevitable one, considering that they would have attacked once they ran out of food. If any of you have noticed, go into the Wailing Woods for a time. There are no birds. Even the wolves have fled. Only the creatures that are able to take on a few of those things themselves remain. And so, once they ran out of food, they would have come here next anyways. You cannot guarantee that we were the ones that caused this. Maybe we did. Maybe we just moved up the timeline. It's happened. There's no point in accusing us when we're here trying to mitigate the damage. Our form of humbling is to serve. And he just turns and bows his head to Dame Emily Mournton.
All right. As Sir Kay does that, Emily is paying close attention to what you all have said so far, and she seems to be weighing Signy's words versus your own. And she looks towards Wallace. Yes, I'm quite aware that you did. You and your friend, and then she looks towards Wen. You and your friend did save me, and I had no reason to expect that from you. And even more so when seemingly my own guards had turned their backs on me. And I do appreciate that. And I don't feel as though you've meant any trespass or offense or have done anything knowingly to cause harm. But nevertheless, harm has been caused. Is it true what Signy says about the stone?
I'm gonna speak up at this point, and my lady, with respect, I tried to speak to you about this incident after myself and Wynne stopped you from being attacked. We also addressed the fact that your guards are now turning away from you and did nothing to this situation. I have saved your life, to be honest, and if not for me and my friend, this town would be in utter chaos. Yet you point halberds at me and my friends who have done nothing but good since coming here. This stone that we found, we took it to get destroyed. We knew it was evil. Our other friend had taken quite a liking to it, and we could sense that it was nothing but bad. The first thing we done was take it to her to find out what it was, and afterwards had it destroyed. This is true.
You couldn't have expected any more of us. Upon discovering an evil object, we brought it to the first person we knew who'd be able to deal with it. Within 24 hours of discovering it. And, to point out, when we picked it up, it was nothing more than a piece of onyx in the forest. We were lucky we discovered that it was evil at all. And that is thanks to Signy. So thank you. But it is a tad inappropriate to go accusing us of things we could not have predicted, or possibly even prevented.
Signy, you speak yourself of this creature you see casting dark magics on you. How do we know that it's not you under the influence of this deity? I mean, we saw it dominate our friend here, and how do we not know that you're under the same influence of magic? How do we not know that you've been manipulated?
Well,
What's to say you're pointing the fingers at us to take the blame and whatnot away from yourself? I'd appreciate it if we could talk about this like adults, really. There's no need for the weapons pointed at us. If we were going to harm you, then... I mean, even again in the courtyard, I called upon my deity to protect these walls. If we wanted this place destroyed, we could have left. There was no reason for us to be here. We're here of our own accord, and you're throwing it back in our face.
And on top of that, we found that stone while going to try and save another.
Shock, doing another favour, doing more good in this town. Would you look at that, Signe?
Alright. So what I want you all to do is, let's see. Are either of you proficient in persuasion?
Me?
Yep.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So, Eric, how about you give us a persuasion roll with advantage?
Okay. 24.
24.
Yes.
Rolled a 1 and a 19. I'll die.
Alright. So, with that, Signe, her scowl softens a bit. She answers, Wallace. Well, I suppose you wouldn't know if that were the case. But it's not. I would not implicate myself if such a thing were true. I could have ignored it, but I thought it best, because I know this attack had something to do with the stone. I could tell the same thing I saw in the shadows and smoke is the same thing that I felt through the stone. There is a connection. So, I'm not saying you did this on purpose. I'm just saying the stone has something to do with this. And with that, Imni will also follow through with none of you strike me as any kind who would orchestrate something like this or knowingly do this. I see the symbols you bear. But nevertheless it has happened. So, Sir Kay, you say you're here to serve. How do you wish to make this right?
Well, we encountered these creatures once in the woods. They ambushed us as though they were a pack of wolves, which leads me to believe that they have a pack mentality. So, if we want to break them, we break their leader. But we need to find a way to do that, and we need to find that leader's location first.
And how do you intend to do that?
That will take a bit of work, a bit of searching, and more than likely a map.
This is why I wanted to speak to you, my lady. I wondered if you had any prior knowledge to anything like this happening before, anything similar to this. I also wondered if you've ever read a book known as the Book of Mirrors.
She'll look puzzled for a moment. I can't say I've ever heard of the Book of Mirrors. And I do know you wanted to speak to me. And I did get the sense that it was important, though I did not think it was this important. And given what had just happened, I felt it best to return here. And oh, I wish I hadn't. I suppose I bear some blame as well.
As my comrade said, what is done is done. There's no point in any of us pointing the finger and blaming each other. We're in a situation now, and as we've said, we're here to help. So let's not dwell on the past and focus on the future and the present.
Alright, well, first, you said one of your friends has a connection to this stone. Is it her? And then she nods towards Junie, who's kind of standing there sort of dumbfounded. And then looks especially surprised, when Emily, she starts to put her hands up in protest.
No.
No, it's not her.
Our comrade who was the one that found the stone took some time away from our group this morning when you came to retrieve us. They, as far as I can tell, they are not handling this situation particularly well.
To say the least.
He's an older gentleman, Toby.
Alright, and then she'll look towards Wen. And what do you have to say of all this?
There's something out there to find. The forest is not natural. There's an unnatural essence to it now, but where it's coming from, I'm not sure. That was part of what we were hoping to find out if you knew anything about as well.
Well, I can tell you, you mentioned the game no longer being plentiful in the forest, and I've noticed that. I myself am a hunter, and Wallace and when you saw me, I'd just returned from a ride. So I was carrying my bow and arrow, and I'd intended to hunt for small game and came across nothing. It was quiet and still, deathly still, as you've said. And I've noticed that more and more so recently.
Most likely this attack has been coming for a while. Once they'd run out of food, they would have gone for the nearest source.
The thing that concerns me, my lady, is when we were in the forest, we encountered a man known as Felly, and he was part of a group of bandits, and they were taking people into the forest to this thing known as a Lessic, which is why I asked you if you ever read the Book of Mirrors. There is tales in there of someone called Lessic. I'm not too sure. Toby read me it one night. It was weird. But I believe that this is connected, and believe me, I am not one to believe in superstitious things, but given the things that I have seen in the past few days, they're all probably real.
And Signy will pipe in as well. Now, I have not heard of this Book of Mirrors, but I do know the tale of Lessic. I believe it's just a fairy tale. A child's tale.
I'd like to insight check that, please. Just to see if she's lying.
Alright, give an insight check.
Dirty 20.
Okay, alright. As you're listening to her, there's nothing to clue you in on to the fact that she's being deceptive or anything like that. She seems to believe that it's a children's tale she's heard of.
Signy, believe me, that is my exact response when I first heard of this. But you've seen these things. The bandit leader was referring to this, whatever this is, as a Lessic, and none of us had ever heard of that before. And we were sent to find a man named Killian, a bard, and he was to be the next person to be taken into these woods. And I believe that the people being taken into these woods are these eyeless creatures that we see attacking this town. It's a theory, of course, but I mean, it would make sense, and I I think that it is connected, children's tale or not. I don't know. I think you have to open your mind up a bit. Look at what just happened. The city is burned. As you say, you watched your friend die in fires, and you felt a natural magical means come over you. I would not dismiss this. That kind of ignorance is what got us into this situation in the first place.
Well, there could be something to this, says Signy. If I recall from the tale, there's something about a voice, a whisper, in the darkness, and when I felt the thing watching me, I could hear whispers, though I could not make them all out. And perhaps
Isn't
that's
that
why.
what Toby said? Something about the darkness speaking?
Yes, Win. I think you might be right.
I think it's about time we got Toby in here for this part of the conversation.
Now, Toby's not a bad guy before everyone starts pointing halberds at him. This is not his fault either. That he's...
But he may have information that could help.
Indeed.
All right, and with that, Junie will speak. I know Toby, and I think he trusts me. We are friends. I could find him if you'll permit me to leave. And Dame Emily will motion for one of the guards to accompany Junie. And Junie will leave with the guard. Now, Toby, we left off last time, and you had received the news about the Black Stone being shattered into 3 pieces by some magic user. And you had been told about how there was some kind of evil attached to it that watched and tried to influence. And this upset you for your own personal reasons, and you left. Now, even though you left and were intentionally trying to stay out of view of your compatriots, your newfound compatriots, you did follow them, and you watched them go into Mournton Manor. Mm-hmm. In the time that they've been talking, which has probably been a little longer than we've actually been talking in game, I imagine, what has Toby been doing?
He's just been hanging out outside. Like, if there's a bench or something to sit on, he probably just sat down and is just hanging out and, maybe just starting to tinker around with some of the stuff that he has, but just to pass the time. But he's just, like, waiting for everyone to come back out or to listen for some signs of, like, maybe it didn't go that well. But yeah, he's clearly outside. Like, Junie wouldn't have to look for him that long.
Okay, so he's going to be pretty obvious, just...
Yeah, he's just hanging out outside.
Okay. Well, after you've sat there for a while, perhaps beginning to wonder how things are going within Mournton Manor, you will see your friend Junie exit the double doors of Mournton Manor, and she's being followed by a guard. And you see her begin to look around. And as she looks around, she will, not quite immediately, but after some time, notice you sitting, and she will... Toby!
Junie?
We
Is
need you.
everything okay?
She'll look around. No, not quite.
What's going on? Where is everybody?
Dame Emily Mournton would like to speak with you as well.
Why?
Well, when we entered Mournton Manor, we sought to talk to her about things. Wallace and Sir Kay had things that they wanted to say. And then when we were in there, the woman who fractured the stone, she was there. And she began accusing us of bringing this upon Mournton. And Sir Kay and Wallace spoke at length about the things that we've done and the reasons we've done them. But they, of course, in telling the truth, had to mention you and your connection with the stone as well.
I don't have a connection, though. I don't...
You'll see she kind of, what would be the best way to describe it? She kind of gives you one of these, sort of like a cast down and looks at you and kind of cocks her head to the side a little bit. Toby, I think we know that's not true.
You talk like it's my stone. I just found it. Got it from that creature.
No one faults you in this, Toby. It's that it affected you somehow. And we don't think you've done anything wrong, but clearly something happened when you came in possession of it.
I think it would have affected anybody.
You might be right about that. But perhaps you can help shed some light.
No, all
And
right.
she looks back at the guard as well, and also I'm not sure if you have an option.
Well, I don't want you to get in trouble, so whatever will clear this mess up. I just want you to be okay. And he'll spring off of the bench that he's on, because he's super short, so he just kind of kicks off and jumps down and follows her. He's gonna be right beside her.
Okay, all right. And you do that, and as you give the sentiments that you don't want her to be in trouble and you want her to be okay, and she just says, and I want the same thing for you, Toby. I want the same for all of us. All right. So you follow into the Mournton Manor?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna be observing what the guard has on him, and just observing everything that as they're walking along, how many hallways. He's just, do they have any machinery, or looking at the furniture. He's just going to be very detailed with his observation.
Okay, so as I had mentioned last time, when you approach Mournton Manor, you will notice that it has a couple of stories. It's large, but we're not talking about a big fortress or castle or anything like that. It's just a large manor home, larger than what most people live in the world. You're sure about that. And while it is nice comparatively speaking, it's also pretty aged as well. Time has worn it. It's been standing for a while. It probably would have been very opulent and beautiful once upon a time. But up front there are a couple of large oaken doors. And as you go inside, the guard will open the doors. And it leads into a hall with marble flooring, and it's about 30 foot wide by 60 foot long. There is a kind of nice but older rug that leads from the entranceway to a set of large stairs that go up to the second floor. Within here you see double doors, 2 on each wall, or 4, 2 sets of doors on each wall, and then that it goes a little further back. Also within here is kind of like a fountain that's not currently in use as well. Like a stone fountain is in the center as well. And as you come in, you see Wynn and Wallace and Sir Kay and 7 other guards, along with an older kind of human woman who's dressed in kind of like a long robe, and she has kind of like graying hair coming down over one side of her face. And as you enter, everyone I'm sure is still conversing, and you see Dame Emily, who you've not seen yet, and she is another human woman, and you can tell that she doesn't really have the bearing and stature of a warrior so much, but she does look physically fit. She's currently in leathers and like leather armor, and she has a quiver, on her side, though she's not really carrying a bow at the moment. And she also has the crest of the house, the 3 willow trees, from the square. So you're sure that this is someone important, though you might not know exactly who it is. Or actually, you're from here, so you probably know exactly who it is. Wasn't thinking about that. So you see Dame Emily Mournton, and as you enter, she looks towards you, and then the rest of the group. Is this your friend?
Yes.
Aye.
It is.
Aw.
Toby, it is.
Hi.
They tell me that you may know something about this stone.
I don't know what to tell you about it. I mean, we were just out in the woods and a creature had it, and I thought it would be interesting to, experiment or just curious about it. I don't know what else to say.
All right, and then the older woman. They said that you've heard the voice. What do you know about that? I've heard it too.
Whose voice?
The voice in the darkness. The whispers in the darkness.
I hear a lot of voices sometimes.
All right.
Can I insight check Toby just to see if
No!
if they're just playing this up or if they're literally actually just old man memorying this? I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah, I mean, you could roll insight.
Ooh, that's a 7.
It's a 7. Okay. All right. I mean, Toby, you can roll whatever you think is most applicable for what you would be doing right now. Persuasion, deception, whatever you think it would be. Just give us a number. Let us in.
I mean, yeah, I'll just probably say in the little amount of time we've all known each other that, when we're at the tavern or, camping out, that he probably, he mumbles to himself, he was a kind of a shut-in for a really long time and just had himself to talk to. So, he might not really know or be able to discern between, him just talking to himself or, he's not really sure what's going on right now.
Okay.
So, he's trying to be honest.
At that realization, Kay is just going to look so incredulous and just say, Toby, you really don't remember the episodes you were having. Talking to yourself.
It was a voice. I don't feel like he remembers talking to himself in his place, the whole oh, he's mumbling, or like
Mhm.
when he was on the bed, like I feel like that would be kind of a out of body, like possessed kind of situation. So I
I'm
mean,
not
he
a high
does
enough
like
level
recall
for
a voice,
exorcisms.
huh?
I'm not a high enough level for exorcisms, guys.
No, I mean, but
Uh,
it's kind of like a, yeah, that's what
I,
I imagined, that it was like, something kind of took over his body, like, and he didn't feel present for it.
Sure. All right. Well, with that, Signe will look a little disappointed. Seems like she was hoping for more to help maybe parse together some kind of answer from everything.
Toby is gonna ask, like, well, do you have a stone if you've been hearing these voices? Or you just hear them?
she was the
No.
one that broke yours, Toby.
Well, I mean, she says she hears them. Do you still hear them?
No, I do not.
Oh.
I believe that I encountered this thing that you've referred to as Alessic in the chaos. And it spoke to me. Not to me, about me, within me. And it felt the same as when I held the stone. I'm sure that whatever it was the thing that was on the other side of the stone.
At this point, I'm going to say, Toby,
Yes.
if you don't remember anything that happened, why were you so upset when we told you that we destroyed the stone? And why did you walk off like that?
I didn't think it was something that should have been destroyed without taking the proper precautions.
I mean, it was giving you nosebleeds and you were shaking in your sleep. And
Yeah,
saying weird stuff, man.
Was destroying it the best thing? I mean, if it's magical, then perhaps it could be put back together. I mean, that doesn't necessarily destroy the magic.
This is the thing, but when we got it destroyed, Signe was saying that there was something watching us, and if that doesn't make you feel uneasy, then I don't know, man. Signe, is that a possibility? Despite you having split the stone in half, is this still something that could happen? Is there still a chance that the magic on it is maybe not as powerful but still working?
I couldn't tell you that. If any magic exists like that, I think it's beyond my capability. I believe that this thing would have to enchant it.
Toby, what did the voice say to you? This particular one. I just gave Toby a very pointed look, like, don't play games.
Well, this is where he is gonna try to deceive everyone. Snap attack. He's gonna say, it just called to me and said, she's here. She's here. I have her. I don't know who they were talking about, but I know someone's in danger.
Insight check, please.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, I would roll 1 too, but there's a good chance Wallace is gonna kick mine
That's
if I
not my
even
business.
roll low.
18 plus 2, 20.
God damn it. I'm rolling.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Deception.
Give us a deception.
Damn it. Come on. Well, no, there's no way I'm gonna beat it because I don't have any plus to it.
No? Okay.
Damn.
All right. Well, Wallace, you get the feeling that Toby is not being completely honest. You know, not completely forthcoming.
Like kind of bending the truth a wee bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
like
you-
give her like the Rock eyebrow raise, like.
But also, as you're studying Toby's words, you get the feeling that something else is there as well. Not complete deception. Something else that you're not really sure. Not an evil thing, but just another emotion or something.
You can see his eyes like welling up right now.
Oh, so he's upset.
Yeah. It's only like when you look at him, it's just like kind of like glassy, tearing up.
If you don't know what it's about, then I don't know why you're getting so upset. I think we both know that deep down, you're not quite being honest with us. This is not a time to hide stuff, and I've been nothing but open with you. This is a bit more important than. This is more important than ourselves. We need to be. If we don't hold them back information that could potentially help us, we're gonna die, mate.
Well, I feel like I'm on trial here. I mean, everyone's asking me all these questions, and I mean, I don't even know all of it myself.
And Junie,
It's difficult.
Junie will put her hand on your shoulder. She doesn't say anything, but she puts her hand on your shoulder and just squeezes a little.
Listen, Toby, you're not on trial. I told you yesterday that I count you as a friend, and I meant that. And I'm going to put my hand on the other shoulder. No, I'm going to put my hand on top of Junie's hand, which is on the shoulder. And I meant that when I said that. But you're quite a hard person to read, I've found, and you keep your cards close to your chest, which is fine, but we're not accusing you of anything here. We just want to know what you know, so it might help us determine a way forward. If you know what this voice said to you, and you know what this is about, and you might be more important in this than you realise.
All right.
We've come close to dying more than once. We need all the information we can get.
Well, I told you everything.
And then as Toby says that, Signy will speak.
Oh, I've got Zone of Truth. Can I cast that?
Yeah.
Just a minute. So Signy will speak. And she says, "It is possible that it's just trying to manipulate him. And perhaps it's not important." Now, that's about the extent to what Signy says. You were saying, Wallace? All right, Lewis.
I'm going to cast Zone of Truth.
Okay. All right.
Everyone within 15 feet of me needs to make a charisma saving throw.
That'd be me.
What's your DC?
Right next to you.
The DC for that is 13.
Oh, 4.
Yes.
All right. Give us the text on your Zone of Truth, because if I remember correctly, it doesn't necessarily compel someone to speak. It's just if they speak,
16.
they have to tell the truth.
Yeah,
But they can
have.
opt not to speak, I think.
Well,
Yes,
and
they can.
do they know it's been cast or
Not until after.
not until after? Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, let me...
I can call it up right here.
Okay.
Second level zone of truth. 15-foot radius sphere centered on a point of your choice. Until the spell ends, creature that enters the spell's area for the first time or starts its turn there makes a charisma save. On a failed save, they can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. You know whether each creature succeeds or fails its saving throw. An affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering
Right.
questions to which it would normally respond
Okay, so
with a
you do
lie.
know.
Yeah, and that's what I
I
was
think
saying.
it's
They can
charm
be evasive.
person. Yeah, is afterwards.
Yeah, they can be evasive as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth. So
Yeah. So,
they can flex a little.
yes, so Toby would be aware that he feels compelled to speak the truth.
You can also be
If he
aware that I
speaks.
failed.
As I cast it, I'm just going to be like, I'm sorry, Toby. And I'm going to put my hand on the shoulder, and you're just going to see my eyes flash like purple. And it's like, sort of like these small, like kind of wisps, like sort of flow around and like go up his nose. And he kind of like blink. His pupils kind of enlarge a little bit.
All right. So, you've cast that. Make note of your spell slot.
Yeah, that's my last second levels. That's what.
All right. So, you've cast it. Do you say, ask, anything in particular?
I'm just gonna be like, I'm sorry, Toby, but I need to know if you know who the person is that the voice is on about when you say that they've got her.
He's gonna use Awaken Mind and message Wallace and say, "This is Toby. Don't do this right now."
Ooh.
Can I reply?
I thought you could reply to the message once.
Yeah. I think that's two message. Like
The spell message you can reply.
the spell message.
Awakened
Yeah.
mind is one way.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a difference. That's cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn to Signe. Wait, can you make a save for Signe?
I did.
Because I would assume that she's in pass.
Yeah, I've already made a save.
Okay, no. So did she fail it or like?
No, she has passed her save.
Okay.
So as to not like he's not answering the question, he'll say, I mean, I lost somebody very dear to me a long time ago. But I don't know if it's them or not. One can only assume, but maybe it's trying to tap into, you know, something, our weaknesses, our greatest fear. I don't know if it's real or not.
Okay, I dismiss the spell.
Well,
I would wait until the spell is gone before I start speaking. I
as
was just saying.
Wallace is dismissing that, Emily would speak. I'm not sure that we'll learn much more from this. The question remains, what do you mean to do about this? The gates of Mournton Manor will stay closed until Lady Deirdre returns.
Where is she?
She went to Dewler's Bridge.
Where's that?
All right.
I know
So
where that is.
you would not know where it is. Sir Kay and Wynn would know where, and actually Toby as well, would know where Duelist Bridge is. Sir Kay and Wynn passed through Duelist Bridge on the way from Black Sands. It was one of those. It was one of those towns on the road that you took to kind of like skirt the Wailing Woods. Toby has probably never been to Jeweller's Bridge before, I imagine, or maybe he has. It doesn't matter. But either way, he knows that it is a community that's, fairly close to here. It's the next largest settlement. Wallace, you come from the complete opposite direction, and it's such a small place that you probably don't know anything about Jeweller's Bridge.
Okay, well, I would ask that aloud then, and then assume that she would tell me, like what you just told me.
Okay.
If I may ask, my lady, do you know when she intends on returning? I'm sure that, my general idea was to find out more information about these eyeless things and then go back into the woods. And I would very much like to have the Night of the Willows by our side when we go to do that.
No, I don't know exactly when she'll return. To be honest, I did not know she was leaving. When I returned from my ride, from my hunt, from being attacked, I expected her to be within Mournton Manor, but I was told that she had left, and she had gone and she had taken a party there. Her and an advisor named Muriel, and several of our guards.
It's funny that, don't mean to intrude, but do you not find it a bit strange that on the night before that the town is attacked, the Night of the Willows takes away several guards and one of your advisors the night that everything burns down? This is a outsider's perspective, of course, and I mean no offence, but I have been known to speak my mind.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you're getting at, or I think I know what you're getting at, but no, I don't find it strange at all. She left, and she would always carry guard with her, and she might take an advisor with her, especially to somewhere like Dueller's Bridge. She is trying to win favor there.
I see. Fair enough.
Do you know whose idea the trip was?
No, I don't. I did not inquire. She is the lady of this village. And though I am her wife, it's not my place to question.
It is fair. As much as the attack timing is odd, I find it odder that they would be gone before you returned from news of being attacked yourself. So I was just wondering if something might have drawn her away.
I couldn't
Perhaps
answer that.
premeditated.
I'd be careful if I were you. You are speaking about the lady of Mournton.
Actually, I was worried more about one of her guards, or possibly the advisor. I doubt the lady herself would have chosen to be away in the instance of you personally being attacked.
That is not what I meant, my lady.
And we've also already witnessed one guard walking away.
To say there is mutiny amongst the guards would not be out of the question, so forgive my inquisitive mind.
But, as I was saying before, these creatures have to be coming from somewhere. They have to have a nest, a resting area, something. They may not have eyes, but even they have to sleep. As far as we know. Do you have a map of Mournton and the surrounding woods? These creatures are obviously close enough to here that they were able to come within a day.
Well, yes, I do have a map of Mournton, but I don't have a map. The woods are not mapped as far as I know.
Right,
Do you know of any cartographers?
Yes, we have those skilled in that art here, but I don't think anyone has mapped the woods. to my knowledge.
You are a hunter yourself. Do you know
Yes.
of any landmarks, any caves, any areas that might be worth a large crowd of creatures staying in or around?
Yes, there are many foothills that are within the woods, and your characters observe these as well, where the owlbear was, and some of those bear caves. But I would not know where these things came from. Though I do travel to the woods, I don't go deep within them. They are dangerous, even if we're not talking about these things.
Very well. The other side of this question is, have you sent anyone to retrieve the lady?
No, we were attacked. I mean, no one was harmed in the attack on me, so I'd meant to speak with her when she returned. As far as the attack from last night, no, we've not sent anyone out of the gates. Nor do I intend to.
Well, as a lady, what would you have us do?
Well, and I should point out there is a subtle difference. I'm not the lady. You may address me as Dame.
Lady Dame.
Just Dame. What would I have you do? You spoke of wanting to find whatever it is that leads these things and kill it or thwart it or whatever it is you intend to do. I would see that done, if you could. But I'm afraid, given what has happened, what my lady would think if she had learned that I had you here, and then I let you leave, when even though I don't think you're connected to this directly, you could be. So, I would like you to carry out this task, and I will permit all but one of you to leave. Now, whoever remains behind will be treated fairly and be considered more of a guest than anything else. But if you all mean anything to one another, and I think you do, then this will give me a little more comfort in knowing that perhaps you'll return for your friend.
That's fair. Just have a vote. Who votes for Ginny?
Alright. In game turns, it'd probably go a little more something like drawing straws. Or something like that, in which we'll assume that your characters do something like that, and you draw straws, and Junie does happen to get the... Yes?
Idea. Kay would suggest to Junie that she stay with Signy and they talk over the story that she read. And maybe we can retrieve the book on our way out from her house. Because Junie read the full story about Lessig.
Right. So, you would... we'll say that your characters drew straws. Junie happened to draw the shortest straw. And you make that recommendation, as well. And then, she'll say, yes, we should. And I did read it, but the book is at my house. It is not here. I did not grab it when I left.
Well, if we're going beyond the walls, we can certainly go try to retrieve it on our way out.
All right.
Which address?
Tell me. Oh, Did she say last time she doesn't know if Toby knows where she lives? I can't remember.
What was that? Sorry, cut out.
Do you think Toby would know where Junie lives?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Toby knows where Junie lives. Now, as you're having this discussion and going beyond the walls of Mournton Manor, Emily will say, we're not going to open the gates. I do know that there is a way out from under Mournton Manor, however. There was a prison that had been in use at one time, but it's been sealed, and no one uses it anymore. But I've been told it leads beyond the walls, not into the Wailing Woods, but into the woods behind Mournton Manor.
What are the woods called?
Say that one more time.
Sorry, what are the woods behind Mournton Manor called? Is there like a name for the...
Oh, no, it's not like a large expanse of woods. It's just, it's...
Oh, is it just like...
Yeah, it's a little bit of forested area surrounded by a bunch of land that's been cleared for farming and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
If we're to be going out to and through these tunnels, and I'm guessing the inn is pretty much burned to the ground, do you happen to have any armor that could be lent? Because I left mine in the inn when we escaped the flames.
I'm sure. I know that we should have leathers, perhaps some scale mail. What do you wear?
Leather. Just leathers.
Right. Is there anything else that your company might need?
Do you have a pouch?
Healing potions.
All right. Healing potions, a pouch. What do you mean by pouch?
Like, just a little, like extra pocket on that you can hang on your hip.
Okay. All right. I'm sure we can find you something like that. And healing potions. Signy would have been one to speak to about that, and she looks at Signy, and Signy will... You see a look come about her. I certainly could have helped with this. If not, my home and business had burned to the ground. And this is nothing that I can make in a short amount of time.
It's unfortunate.
Understandable.
I could use a shield and...
I'm going to look to the guards and ask if they've got any healing potions.
Right. You look around and you know that that's the kind of thing that most people just don't carry with them usually. It's a little bit more of an expensive item, you know.
Just checking.
Just kidding.
I'm just gonna look at her and say, I need a shield and I could use some new chainmail. Mine's a bit destroyed, to say the least.
All right. Okay, so you guys will, talk about a list of things that you could possibly use. Now, regarding a pouch, Kristen, they will give you something. Like, you weren't talking about a full-on spell component pouch, just a pouch that you could put things in.
Mm-hmm.
No problem coming up with something like that.
Yay.
Were you wearing leather armor? Is that what you were?
I was, yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm sure that they can definitely get you some leather armor that will fit all right,
Okay.
In terms of chainmail,
Pull a rocket raccoon and just point at the nearest guard my size and say, I want his armor.
all right. They will have some. They will have some within the armory that will fit you, and they will outfit you with chainmail as well. Lewis, aside from healing potions, was there anything that Wallace would have needed or wanted?
He might inquire about a prayer book. I don't know what the book would be called, but like a book, the book of like the holy book for followers of Neom the Untold. By chance, don't know if they have like a chantry or anything nearby. Or
Okay. All right. She will say, the lady does have a library, though this is not something I could give you, but I suppose I could
I'd pay
loan
for
it
it.
to you. No, I'd see it returned. If this is something you need for this journey.
No, not really. I just need a new one. I lost mine. I'll buy one. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Now,
Would
beyond...
they have, would they have wooden shields or just metal ones?
no, they'll have wooden shields, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one thing. Because my shield was my holy emblem. So, I would just, as politely as possible, ask Emily if I might be able to borrow a holy emblem of the judge from the Knight of Willows.
Yeah, this is something I don't even need to roll for. I know that they will have... their household worships the judge, so... This village has a church completely dedicated to the judge. So, anyway, she will be able to give you something like that. So, without a doubt.
Perfect.
So, and beyond that, they will outfit you with some rations, some supplies like that, water skin things as well, if your characters needed them or needed to freshen them up. So,
Yeah.
anything else while you're here?
Just a quick question, and feel free to answer, but just simply out of curiosity, that bridge place that the lady was at, could this perhaps be connected to why people walked away when you were being attacked? There are people from there that would perhaps wish you any harm?
I don't know anyone from Dueler's Bridge who would wish me harm. The only thing that I could think of related to that is Deepberry. As I mentioned, there is a rivalry, a bit of a trade rivalry there. And I suppose it does involve Dueler's Bridge as well. But I can't think of anyone from Dueler's Bridge who would mean me harm.
Perhaps not, but my concern now grows, considering events happened. If they're at Dueler's Bridge and they've attempted to attack you here, what's not to say that they're being led into an ambush? I would argue that we should go there and see what's happening, if they're safe. If they are, convince them to come with us. I do think that we will need more men with us when we go back into the Wailing Woods. I mean, you saw the amount of these creatures that attacked the town, and I understand if you won't spare any, as you have people to protect here, but if they are already with the city walls, then perhaps, I don't know, it's a thought.
It is a thought, and as you say this, I mean, I suppose I should worry. Although, Deirdre is a rather capable warrior.
I'm not disputing that. I mean, in Ironhome, dwarves would generally do this at dinners and stuff. There was a time where my uncle, they call it the black dinner, where they were all liquored at a dinner, and I don't know if that is just something that would happen there, or if it's out the realms of possibility, but just concerned for your safety and your wife's safety.
Yes. Well, again, as I've said, I suppose I should most certainly be concerned for her, knowing all of this now. But I tell you, if you seek out the lady, and you tell her what you know, I can't promise that she'll receive you as I've received you. And I can most certainly assure you that she will not accompany you into the woods.
Fair enough.
But we should
It's
at least...
prison then.
Do you have a way to get a message to her, at least beyond sending a runner?
Let me check.
Raven.
No, just a moment.
Also, Wallace, don't think you got away with that Red Wedding reference.
Alright. Just need to look at one thing real quick. Alright, I was just checking to make sure Signe didn't have anything in particular. You ask if she has any way to get a message beyond like a runner. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Alright. She doesn't pause as long as I do. No, I think that would be the most direct route to get information there. Would be to send a rider.
Alright. Well, that's unfortunate, but I was going to offer to escort whoever you'd like to send at least part the way down the road, but I don't know if that'd be possible if you need a rider. We'll forgo that for now, I guess.
Yes. Regarding the lady, I can only hope for the best and hope she returns soon.
Yes, indeed. Well, I suppose it's time for a prison run then.
Alright. So, if you have no more questions, and you elect to do that, as opposed to something else, then let's go ahead and take a quick 5 or so minute break right here. Is that good with everybody? So we'll meet back in about 5 minutes. We're back from break, and before we left off, you'd spent a considerable amount of time talking with one another and with Dame Emily Mournton and with Signe. And you tried to parse out what had been going on and what you might know and how this might be resolved, and ultimately you volunteered yourselves to try to find whatever this is leading the things from the woods. And Emmy shared with you that the gates would not be opening, for fear of another attack, lying in ambush or wait or whatever. And she also shared with you the fact that she knows that there is a way out from under Mournton Manor, and that perhaps you could try that way, and that it's been sealed. But she knows that it leads from Mournton Manor, beyond the gates, into the woods behind Mournton Manor. And after equipping yourselves, getting provisions, you've agreed to take that route.
How many days? See how they gave us rations. How many days rations would you say they gave us?
Probably about a week's worth of rations.
Sound.
I'll write that down.
Yeah. And I'm sure they would have given you a couple of water skins as well.
Cool.
Alright. And you've also agreed, though you didn't have much choice, to leaving Junie behind. Because again, the dame is not quite certain what Lady Mournton will do when she returns, and how she will feel about her actions in letting you all leave. So,
Toby, he gives Junie a huge hug, which is probably just like around her leg, and like pulls her down so he can whisper, sorry. and then just give her another hug.
All right. And you do that. You hug Junie on her leg, whisper sorry to her, and she'll kind of give you a somewhat awkward smile and just say, it's okay, Toby. It's okay. Be safe. And then, she'll look to everyone else. And you be safe as well. All right. So, with that, Emily and her guard will lead you to behind the stairs that you've kind of been standing in front of. And when you go behind the stairs, one, you'll see another set of double doors behind it on the wall. But also behind the stairs themselves, the back of the stairs, there's another set of doors. And those open. Emily will open them. And there are more stairs descending into darkness beyond that. And you can tell, you see kind of like the walls sort of around the doors, how it appears as though maybe at one point these doors had been obscured, but whatever was obscuring them has been removed. So.
Well, here we go again. And I'm going to pop for dancing lights and just kind of spread them out across the group so we all have light.
Okay.
And just recast it as much as I need to going down.
Okay. All right. So you do that, and these lights appear, these orbs, and they float down with you and light up the darkness. Now, as you're descending these stairs, the first thing you notice immediately is that they are of unequal heights. Some are shorter, some are taller, some are a much further step down, and it's very hard to descend these stairs and keep your balance. You can tell that it would be nearly impossible to do this in any kind of speedy sort of way, So, you carefully make your way down these unequal stairs and have to be careful not to trip. And these stairs will lead to a stone landing. And that stone landing, or not stone landing, but it will lead to an area. And you go down for a considerable amount down the stairs. Now, the landing that you come upon is about 20 feet by 25 feet long. And there are 6 stone columns. The floor is stone, the walls are stone, as far as you can tell, the ceiling's stone as well. And as you get down the landing, there is a broken shield that appears to have been crushed and splintered. Bits of white and red wood splintered about. You also observe a set of iron double doors at the end of this landing.
I'm gonna pop a divine sense immediately.
Okay.
Once I see the shield, my alarm's up. Because you said it looks crushed, right? Not like it's just old and rotted out.
Yeah.
Yep, divine sense. For 6 seconds, I know if there's any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of me.
Okay. So you begin to open yourself up to the divine, and try to see as though the gods or other things might. And you're not really sensing anything undead or other within here. Nothing fiendish, nothing celestial.
Are there any statues?
No statues. It's largely blank. The walls are bare. Floor is bare. The only thing that adorns this area that you're in right now, again, are the 6 columns that appear to be holding the ceiling up above you. And then there are the iron doors at the end.
I'm just gonna send the lights ahead of us to try and illuminate the room a little bit more.
Okay.
Just to kind of like eat into any like shadowy corners or whatever, or like even raise them up a little bit to reach the ceiling if I have to. And
Would I be able to see anything with a passive perception?
Yeah, you have a pretty good passive perception, and he is, even though you already have dark vision because you're a dwarf, he is illuminating the space, so your dark vision kind of kicks off, and it's well lit, and you don't see anything within here at all, other than the things that I've already described.
Cool.
right.
Who took us down here? Like, did we just was it a guard? Was it the lady herself?
So nobody descended the stairs with you at all.
They just showed us the doors and we went.
Right, and it was quite literally within the room that you were in, on the back of the large stairwell that I had described. So there were the stairs going up, and then on the other side of it, there was a set of double doors that kind of like led down. So, or open to some stairs that led down.
This must be the prison then.
I guess so. I really don't like this. Slow but steady, I guess. Wallace, you might want to go first just to keep an eye for anything they might have used to keep people in.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. I'm gonna just attempt to push the door open.
Okay, attempt to push the door open. Okay.
Yeah, pull it.
All right, so you can tell by the way it's made it would, open in. But when you go to push it open, again, they're kind of like big metal doors, and they are firm. They're not just like swinging in.
All right, and I'm gonna set up on one door and see if I can help him like push it open. If maybe it's just sort of wedged shut with something against it, or
okay, it appears to be locked. But when you're doing that, you will notice that the doors feel pretty firm, but there is some give to the stone that the doors are set in.
So we're gonna Kool-Aid Man this, right?
Sergio offers his mage hand, like.
I'll cast guidance on Sir Kay.
Okay.
All right, and I'm just gonna go to the stone and shove.
Okay, are you guys doing this together, or are you doing it alone?
Yeah. I'll just kind of
Do a 1, 2,
do it
3.
with them.
Okay, so Sir Kay, Eric, give me a strength check for Sir Kay. But because Wallace is helping you, you'll do that with advantage. And because when cast guidance on you, I believe that will add into your ability check. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an extra D4.
Yeah.
Okay. So, give me that strength check.
Oh, yeah.
So, thanks for the advantage. It is 16 total.
Okay. All right. So, you are able to, like, Kool-Aid Man the door, essentially. But at the same time, while you're doing this, I need you both to give me dexterity saves.
No!
Oh no. Not me. That's a negative.
A negative
So,
one?
11.
I only have it.
So that's 11, and then what did you say it was, Eric?
It's a 0.
Okay.
It's a natural -1.
Okay.
Critical roll die. Why? Oh no, that's a lot of dice.
That was a lot of dice. All right. So, as you put all of your might behind this door, the stone gives way to where you see it was kind of like bolted into it above. But as it does that, you hear like a on the other side of it as it flips this switch and a scything blade sweeps down.
Oh god, Damn it.
And you each take 12 points of damage.
Oh. That's a third of my health.
Would have been nice if they warned us about this blade.
Oh, and I just got this on it. Okay.
Are you okay?
Oh, I will wait.
And as that happens, I'm sure that bleeding is somewhat substantial, and on the other side of the door, you observe on the stone dried blood, appears to be arterial spray, on the floor, on the walls, etc.
From us?
Yeah, certainly from you now as well. Even though you're not bleeding out, that was a substantial amount of damage for anyone to take. But in addition to your very fresh blood, there is like dried and old blood on the stone as well.
I'm gonna drop a cure wounds into myself. Just before we walk through this death hallway.
Right. The door is open. It's broken.
Is Cure Wounds a first level spell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well.
Okay.
Toby's gonna cast Mage Armor on himself.
Okay. So once again, the door is broken open. The stone around it is crumbled a bit. You very much see from the other side the switch that you tripped, and you also see how the kind of like blade trap has not retracted or anything like that. It looks like it would have to be reset, for it to operate again. So
is the blade just kind of hanging there, like not doing anything now?
Yeah.
Toby's he's like fascinated with these contraptions more so than the damage that it just did. So he's gonna try to see if there's any like cracks in the walls or like any buttons or anything that would be like unnatural to the stonework.
Okay. So as Toby is looking around, let me tell you a little bit about where you are right now. So you've gone through these metal double doors. It opens into about a 10-foot by 50-foot, and I'm assuming... did your lights require concentration? Do you have to cast them again?
Yeah, I would have to cast them again.
And if I remember correctly, everybody has dark vision. Is that right? Or do some of you have light vision? Or,
Yes.
dark vision? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all have dark vision. It's probably 60 feet, I imagine. So you don't even really need them within this area so much. You can see pretty much the full distance of it. Again, it's about 50 feet long. Toby, as you're looking around, first thing you notice is there are another couple of support columns in the center, and they're spaced apart. As you're looking around, you will see that the mortar in the walls is kind of crumbling, and on the right side, something foul oozes through them, wet and just drips upon the ground. Black mold also grows on the stone in places on the right side of the hall. Though when you look around to the other side of the hall, it appears as though the stone is much cleaner than this. If you look over there, you will see that the surface is remarkably smooth and unblemished compared to the other side. In addition to that, you will also see that there are a set of double doors that are wooden, but they're like banded with iron. And the iron is rusted, and where nails once held the banding in place, it looks like the only thing holding it in place now is the rust. In addition to that, the banding is pitted. And that's about the extent of what you see in here, except for the double doors. There is kind of like an arched 10-foot exit way at the end of this hall.
You think they sent us here to die?
It's almost looking that way.
Well, maybe we'll have words when we get back.
Toby is
One
drawn
more
to
doors.
the surface that is like not dirty or I think you said like smooth. Just it's very just abnormal from the rest of the.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the mortar between the stones is kind of like crumbling, and then, like I said, the stuff is oozing through there. And as you get closer and examine it, it has a very sort of acrid smell, and your eyes begin to water, and I'm sure you cough a bit as well. It's very kind of caustic, what you're inhaling.
Anybody have an empty vial?
I just toss over an empty potion vial.
We're gonna try to scoop some of it up.
Okay. I'm sure you can manage to do that. You get a little bit of stuff oozing within there.
Black slut.
Cap it. Yeah.
We now officially have a baby black pudding in the party.
Yay! Mazel tov.
All right. So, again, there are a set of doors in here. Wooden, again, not iron. And then there's an exit way at the end of the hall. Again, no doors. It's just kind of like a 10-foot archway.
As we're going, I'm just going to say, right, let's stick to the clean side of the room and step a bit lightly. And I'm actually going to take out the longsword that Wallace found me, and, like, I'm going to be tapping it and, like, pushing on stones as we go ahead of me, just to make sure I don't set anything else off and kill myself.
Uh-huh.
So, like, everywhere I'm about to step, I always poke first and, like, put a decent amount of pressure on it.
Okay. All right. So, you're doing that. Are you ignoring the double set of doors and continuing to walk?
Towards the
I want
exit.
to investigate it to see if there's any traps, because I get the feeling that everything's going to have traps in here.
Okay. Give me an investigation roll.
That's a 12.
It's a 12? Okay. So you go over and you look at these doors, and again, they're made out of wood. They appear to be fairly old. And again, like I said, the banding on them is pitted and it's rusted, and the nails have kind of like, they're missing. They've gone away, disintegrated, possibly from rust. You're not entirely sure. And as you're over here, you smell that scent as well, caustic, burning your eyes. You're not really certain what it is. But you don't really see traps on the door or anything. You don't notice anything that looked like it would be dangerous, except for possibly the thing that you're smelling.
It doesn't smell good over here, so it's probably the way we should go.
So I heard it doesn't smell good over here, and it looks like you said a little bit more.
Yeah, this is probably the way we should go. I'm saying that to everyone.
Okay.
Let's at least poke our head down the archway at least.
It's the same sort of stuff as you got in that vial there, Toby.
While he's checking at the doors, I'm just gonna go take a quick, basically peek down the archway.
Okay.
Send the lights down, light it up, see if there's anything down there, or if it's just another hallway.
Sure. When you go down that way, you see that it is a corridor, and to the left there is another set of wooden doors, and to the right it's a corridor that just kind of like curves back away from you.
Well, down here we have doors on the left and another pathway to the right that seems to curve around. So we have options.
Split the party.
Bye.
We all die.
We all take a door.
I'm just gonna say we can either open the one that most likely has very gross stuff behind it. Or we can see where one of these leads. I'm going to suggest if we open that door, we stand fairly far away and hopefully have Toby's little trick open it for us.
Where's your wee pal? Your wee imaginary friend?
He can try to open it with Mage Hand.
Okay.
We're just going all back away.
Yes, slowly.
Yeah, I'm making a point of getting away from any blades that are going to cut me in half.
Is the distance on
Get
Kristen?
30 feet away.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. The distance is 30 feet, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, all right. So you get a distance away, and Toby will, set about casting Mage Hand and sending it over to the doors. And again, these are old and worn, and the Mage Hand has no difficulty at all whatsoever of just kind of like giving a little bit of a push to the door and the doors, and they just kind of like creak open slightly.
Open sesame.
Dancing lights once the doors are open.
All right. So once the doors are open, you send dancing lights in to light up the area. And if you were right in front of the doors, you can only be back 10 feet. So if you want to be 30 feet away, you've got to be like looking at it from an angle. So your vision is going to be obscured somewhat if you're trying to be the full 30 feet away. But you can tell that it opens into a room, and it looks as though more of the mold is just kind of like growing within the room. And from your vantage point right now, that's about all you can tell.
I'll stay the 10 feet distance
Sure.
away from it if I can, and just creep closer.
Okay. As you do that,
Safe distance.
Yeah, you get a more direct route, or a more direct line of sight. And again, this is a room, and it's about 10 feet by 20 feet long. There is a wooden table in there and chairs, and everything is just covered in this black mold that's on the outside of the wall. As you're looking, you notice that under the table is kind of a banded wooden chest as well.
Come a bit closer. Can you use the same trick to grab that chest?
I believe so. Yeah, he'll get a little closer and try to just pop open the chest.
Okay, so when he tries to use Mage Hand on the chest, it is most certainly more than 5 pounds, which is, I think, is the extent of what the Mage Hand.
I mean, can you just open the top of it, like?
Yeah. So in terms of the top, yeah, he can just kind of like lift the lid up.
Yeah, just like lift it, not the whole thing. Yeah.
So he does that. It's a little hard to see what's in there, but with the lights, you see kind of like something glinting off of metal within it.
I'm just gonna look around to everybody and just say, "That looks like it could be useful."
Fine, I'll go into the mouldy room, stop asking, then I'm gonna walk straight in.
Okay.
Do you want to go, or do you want me to go and sit back and prep your little fire trick just in case something tries to bite me?
I'll go, I'll just be careful, but be ready to jump in after me if this goes south.
Alright. You're up.
Oh, okay.
Just give me one pat back.
I'm gonna kind of like sort of ruffle my beard and walk in, kind of tentatively. I want to be stealthy, so I'm gonna make a stealth check.
Okay.
So that's a 15 on my stealth check.
15? Okay. Alright, so you're kind of like trying to be as quiet as you can going into the room.
very much.
And you go in
When
there.
you're like walking your room in the dark, I'm kind of just like,
He's just
All right.
tiptoeing through all the mold.
Yeah, so you're doing that, and again, you're stepping on this. Again, everything is covered in this black mold in here, and you get over to the table, and once again, all of that is covered in mold as well. And you look down, and you see the lights, glinting off of things. And now that you're a little bit closer, you can tell that there are like several kind of like plates and cups and like cups, plates and bowls and cups. You also see candles within here, and then what appears to be kind of like flint and steel as well. As you're looking at it, the metal has kind of taken on this greenish patina. So you've probably seen that before. You think it's probably copper that these things are made out of. Everyone else, you observe something slithering along the floor behind Wallace.
I don't see that with my passive perception.
You don't see it with your passive perception. You kind of cut out on me, but I think you said with a 16 for passive perception. Is that what you said?
If I see movement that isn't Wallace, I'm in there hacking at whatever the hell this thing is with the sword.
Okay, but first, you see this kind of like puddle slithering on the floor behind him, and then all of these kind of like tendrils of gooey something form within the puddle, and it's not moving very quickly, so I will allow you to roll initiative instead of it taking initiative.
Okay.
But Lewis, you definitely don't see it.
Should I still roll initiative?
Not yet.
Yeah.
You're kind of going to default to last on this one.
Okay.
Wallace, there's a slimy, slinky thing.
Okay.
All right, Eric, are you our constant initiative tracker?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Who has what?
This thing has a 13.
13, so enemy.
I have a 6.
Oh no.
7.
Oh no.
I think we're just shocked seeing like slime move.
Not sure what it is.
Well, apparently this thing takes initiative anyways, because I got a 0.
Wow, okay.
So
Alright.
natural 1 with this die tonight. I'm just going to ignore that.
Lewis,
Bull takes down the party.
please give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh god.
Oh no.
5.
5? Okay.
Oh no, I think I might know what this is.
Can't say anything.
You take another 6 points of damage
Okay, that's not as
as you feel as though something, it's like a very kind of heavy pressure, like almost within your mind. You feel like you're going to black out momentarily as you take this 6 points of psychic damage. Nothing else really happens, but you're alerted to the fact that something very strange just happened to you. I'm sure you pivot probably towards your party, and as you do, you see this kind of like grayish puddle just kind of writhing on the floor beneath you. Or behind you is what I mean to say.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of turn around and look at it, and I'm just gonna be kind of shocked. I'm not really gonna react. I'm kind of just gonna step back, kind of put my hand on the table a wee bit.
Okay.
In terms of initiative order, it would have been the puddle first, and then it's Toby.
All right. What would Toby do? How would Toby react?
He just yelling out. He'll and it just attacked Wallace. So he's gonna blast it.
Yeah, and you didn't see it. You didn't see it like lash out at Wallace, but you certainly saw.
But it was like coming towards him.
It was coming towards him, and then Wallace, I'm sure, kind of made some kind of sound of anguish as he experienced that pain, and then probably I imagine had a little bit of a look of fear, as he pivoted to see this behind him.
He just wants to push out some magical energy so it could push it back. He doesn't want it to be on anybody right now. So dang, that's 11
for a strike.
Yeah.
All right, so that strikes. What are you striking with exactly?
Oh, Eldritch Blast.
Okay, all right.
Sweet.
Thankfully, the pedal does not have armor.
It does not.
And 11 points of damage.
Yeah. And what kind of damage does Eldritch Blast do again?
I'm guessing
Force
radiant. Force? Okay.
Force damage? Okay. All right. And you said 11, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
Force, Toby.
Now, as you do that, by the way, you push out with this magical force that you have, and it does send, a good chunk of the puddle, splattering across the room as you do that.
Oh, no.
Onto my face, on the front side of my face. I'm just kind of
Yeah. Perfect. Who's next on our initiative?
Next
I
up is
believe
Lynn.
that's me.
Yep.
Because
I'm at the big old goose egg.
yeah.
Just hanging out.
I think I'm gonna try and burn it
Okay.
because I don't see a sword doing a whole lot of good against slime.
Okay.
That is a 12.
12 strikes. And what were you striking with?
Firebolt, which I realized my fire cantrip was supposed to be from the wizard spell list because I'm a high elf.
Okay.
So, it is 8 fire damage.
8 fire damage? Okay.
Dang.
Alright. You cast your firebolt spell. The flame, leaps from your hands and seeks and finds purchase within the puddle, and Wallace, you observe just kind of this bubbling within the puddle as part of it, burns away, and that caustic smell is a bit worse than it was a bit ago. So,
okay.
Eric.
Don't really have many good options right now. How many hit points do you have left, Walls? Are you below half?
I'm above half.
Okay, never mind, that one works. Okay, I'm just gonna go in and give it a whack. Yeah, I'll use the longsword and I'll bump one level of Divine Smite into it.
Okay.
So that's what I got. If it hits. So not using midpoint now. That's not bad. That's a 9 plus 4, so 13.
That hits. Give me damage.
Alrighty. Oh yeah, this is a longsword, so it's gonna be where my D8's at. There it is. So It takes 10 slashing damage, and then it takes an additional 15 radiant damage.
Okay.
Oh, real high.
All right.
2 8s and a 7.
Describe to me what happens as you essentially slay what is this grayish puddle.
Probably just run up to it, and I go to basically I stab the sword down point first, and then realize wait, no, this thing's a puddle. So while I have the sword in there, I just bring the shield down alongside it and basically spread it apart.
Okay, all right. So you charge forward towards your friend Wallace, and stab your sword, as you said, and realize that it didn't seem to be as effective as you thought it might. So you just kind of spread it apart, sling it everywhere. And as you do that, you withdraw your sword, and you see the edge of the sword is just kind of being eaten away by whatever you had stabbed it into. Now, when you attack with the sword from this point forward and you deal damage, subtract 1 point of damage from whatever you deal.
Great.
Your blade is visibly less effective than it had been. The metal is corroded.
No, at least it's not a great sword. You alright, Wallace?
Aye. Well, there's only plates and that in here, so guess we should go the other way.
Breathing. God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? Is that what you've got?
That looked like one especially deadly puddle.
Yes. Well, was never a germaphobe, but
Well, that's the thing you cut out on us. I heard was never a germaphobe and didn't catch the rest of that. Or Lewis didn't catch the rest of that.
yeah, that's if it was the same stuff that you put in the vial.
Toby's gonna take out the vial and shake it around, see
Right.
if it moves.
It, as you kind of shake it around, it goes all over the edges of the vial and kind of settles back down, and then you see kind of a bit of it just kind of up towards the side of it.
No, looks like it's the same thing.
Is it a good idea to take it then?
Oh, absolutely.
Could slip it in Signy's drink.
No. Lords no.
I'm sure it could be useful later on.
If there's one surefire way to get all of us thrown down here, it would be that. You alright to keep moving on, Wallace? I'd rather not stay in this room with whatever the hell's that was.
Yeah, let's get a move on.
Yeah.
Also, let's sketch anything that appears to be oozing from the walls from now on.
All right.
He's just gonna put it back.
So you continue down to the archway.
Yep.
All right. So you do that again. It's about 10 foot tall and wide. It opens into another area, and again, this whole place has stone floor and walls. There are kind of center columns leading off to the right. Again, appears to be holding load-bearing structures holding the ceiling up. And as you look around in here, the ceiling in this area does appear to be a bit more unstable. There are cracks within the ceiling, and you look down upon the floor, and there's dirt and rubble all over the place. To the right is the hallway that's just kind of curved away from you, and you feel a noticeable draft going that direction. To the left is another double set of doors, iron banded, and they're wooden. Though as you're looking at these doors, they don't appear to be kind of like rusted and eroded and pitted, much like the other doors were. While these are kind of like older, they're in much better shape. The other doors were visibly in disrepair. These are a set of doors that are, pretty sturdy looking. And as you're kind of looking around this area, on the wall beside the doors, in stone and chalk, or written on stone and chalk, is the phrase, "The old man lies." And where the words "old man" are, you see a lot of chalk smudge around it, and it looks like the words "old man" have kind of been written over something that was erased. But it clearly reads "The old man lies," and you're not sure what it might have read before.
Is that like a saying related to something? Would I have ever heard a saying similar to that, or that saying before?
Most certainly not.
Okay. I'm going to look to everybody and be like, well, there's a draft coming through there, but there's also some weird stuff written on that wall. We should go through that door.
You have some strange logic, Wallace. If the draft is coming from that way, that's more than likely the way out, which is what we need.
Aye, but do you not think it's weird that they've sealed off this jail with grey puddles that hurt you, and there's this weird writing? Why was that written? What, they've not told us a lot about this. This place is trapped. This is weird. I want to know why. The old man, I've never heard of a saying like that before, but...
First off, it is an abandoned prison. These things tend to get a little creepy even when they're in use.
Maybe it's just a warning of things to come, maybe it's just telling us to not listen to whatever is behind this.
But why would it say "the old man"?
Maybe there's something ancient behind here that I don't know.
Or it's just the last writings of a raving madman that died down here.
Either way, do you know what I find it?
If you want to open that door, Wallace, feel free. I still think we should be going the other way.
I will not. I'm not going to go in there myself. If you'd rather leave, we can leave.
Well, that's why we came down here, is to get past the walls.
Fair enough. Oh well. Let's go then. Just saying. We should probably go in there. I think we would find something interesting in there.
Last time we found something interesting, a puddle tried to eat you.
Tried.
Well, succeeded at eating my blade as well, so... How about... If we have to get back in, we come back this way and we can open the door then. Deal?
Deal.
Alright. Down in the hallway then. Let's try not to die this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you head off down to the right, where the hallway just kind of curves back away from you. And it takes almost a 90-degree turn after about 30 or so feet. And then the ceiling remains kind of as I've described before. It is crumbling and cracked, and on the floor beneath you, all kinds of debris. Looks like it's fallen down. You can see where it looks like, tracks have passed through this way, or people have passed through this way as well. The debris is disturbed, and You'll also find mud dried to the stone in the shape of footprints as well. And the further you go, the breeze, picks up a bit. And you will travel hundreds, several hundred, probably over 1,000 feet. And eventually, you'll see towards the end a kind of like glowing pulse, much like you've seen before. And about the moment that you notice it, it shuts off.
Great. I can't say anything because I was unconscious at the time. Kay would just be like, wait, did any of you see that?
Did we see it?
You did see the
We all
pulse.
saw it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you were in darkness.
yeah. Yeah, are you talking about the pulsing light?
Yes. That is not normal. What color was the light?
It was kind of like this bluish pulsing light.
Okay. Just wondered if it matched the light that the stone gave off. But that was more violet, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the last time we saw something randomly glowing, it didn't turn out very well.
When has anything turned out very well since we got here?
You're killing back. That
True.
That's a very valid point, Owen.
Yes, that's really the best example I've got. Right. Well, so there's definitely something down there that might try and kill us.
Could always go back to the doors.
I don't know about you, Wallace, but I'm not really one to go backwards.
Well, I guess the only way is forward then.
Yep.
Alright.
God, I hate this town. And I just start walking, and I'm gonna have the dancing lights up just to make sure nothing has a chance to jump out at us from the shadows.
Alright. As you send the lights down, further ahead of you, what's the distance on those that you can send them ahead of you?
As long as they're within. Hold on.
So not 120 feet, because you had that with the owl bear.
Yeah, I can move them up to 120 feet away from myself, but each one has to be within like 20 feet of another light. So they can be strung out in a chain, but they have to be within 20 feet of each other.
Okay, alright. So you send them the full 120 feet ahead of you?
Yep.
Okay. As you do that, it will light up the distance further ahead of you. And what you will see is along the walls, along the floors, along the ceilings, there's like a mass of something just crawling everywhere. And as you get closer, you will hear the clack of kind of like tiny little claws upon the stone. And you will hear kind of like a squeaking and chittering.
Rats. It has to be rats. This just went full Indiana Jones.
And then as your lights go down there, they begin to scurry your direction, and the chittering and squeaking gets louder. And even though your lights are there, you can tell that this mass of rats is pulsating with kind of like this light.
Any of you have something for this? Because I don't think my sword's enough to take them all. And I set up, and I'm basically just trying to do a one-man shield wall, because there's nothing else I can do in this
How
case.
wide is the hallway we're in?
It's 10 foot wide. It's about a 10-foot ceiling where you are as well.
Okay.
So, You're going to want to roll initiative.
Oh, man. Not the rats. These are
I
pretty.
got a 10.
Okay,
I got it all.
the rats have a 21.
Dear Lord. I'm using the rest of the pen. Okay. So... Rats have... I'm glad I made this initiative tracker go up to 30. Okay. Okay, so this is... Alright, Win?
Yeah,
What'd you get?
a 10.
Wallace?
10.
I'm gonna assume Wallace has the higher dex?
Um,
I've got +2.
yes, he does.
Kobe?
13.
Okay. And I got a 12. So, the bunch of rats are going first.
All right,
It wasn't a 0 this time.
I regret nothing.
Jess, give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh no. That's
An 11.
An 11? Okay. Much like I've described before, you hear within your mind, not with your ears, something feels like it's right behind your eyes. And it's chittering. Like you've heard rats before, but you hear this kind of like squeaky little voice. Kill them! Kill them! And you, much like Sir Kay before, feel compelled to turn on your friends.
Oh no.
And it's nothing you can help. And as Eric and I have talked about it before, it's something that Wynn observes herself doing, but has no control over it at all whatsoever.
Oh no.
Okay.
And that's it for them.
So
They
so
are...
the
Sorry.
so the kill them is not kill the rats.
No.
No.
You, even though it didn't name a thing, it definitely meant your compatriots.
Okay.
And you know that it meant that. So, they are at a distance, probably about 60 feet
Jeez.
from your party. Who's next?
That would be Toby.
So we're trying to push through them, or we're just maybe
I get
this
the feeling, I get the feeling the way it was described. They're kind of about to swarm us, I think.
like
So,
retreat kind of. Yeah. He's going to run back the other way.
Okay, how far?
Run away! 30 feet.
30 feet?
Whatever. Let me check on his speed. It might be less than that.
No, I believe is 25, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 25.
Okay.
That might be less, yeah.
Alright, so he runs back 25 feet. Does he
Yeah.
take any action or just the run?
No, he still has the mage armor up, and yeah, he runs away. He's
Okay.
not going to take any action. If I mean, yeah, there's something he can do if something does damage him, but yeah, he's just running away.
Okay. Who's next?
That would be me. So all these things are coming at me. Don't know when is charmed. I mean, I've really got not much that can deal with this. So, I'm just gonna start like a moving retreat. I'm gonna keep the shield up and stay kind of last in the back to like just take a couple swipes as we're going. But I'm gonna start following Toby, and I'm gonna look at Wallace and Wynn and tell them to come too.
All right. Who's next?
Wallace.
Okay. I am going to kind of back up towards Arcade, but I'm going to cast Sacred Flame at the Swarmer Rats.
All right.
The days don't matter.
What's your... I've rolled a 14... 16... Okay. 16.
Yeah, that saves it.
Okay. Alright, so you cast the Sacred Flame amongst the rats, and you just kind of see that the swarm just kind of like, pivots around, kind of where it are. Yeah, I'm sure you incinerated probably a couple of them, but nothing substantial happened that you could tell. Now that brings us to Wynn.
All right. I'm gonna guess that Wallace is the closest to her at the moment.
Okay.
Since Toby and Sir Kay have retreated. And so she's gonna attack.
Alright.
7, I'm guessing misses.
Yep, that misses.
Alright, so Wallace, as you're casting Sacred Flame and, watching what's going on ahead of you as you begin to debate a retreat, from behind you, you feel a blade glance. You're wearing armor, correct?
Yeah, leather armor.
Yeah. You feel a blade kind of like, it bites into your armor a little bit, probably shears off a little bit of leather from it, and then glances away from you without biting into your flesh, and you turn and you see Wynn has struck you from behind.
R.I.P. Win on my next turn.
Alright.
Great. It is now the rat's turn.
Okay. Wallace,
Oh god.
give me an intelligence save.
12.
12. You hear the same kind of voice behind your eyes within your head. And it tells you, through the triggers, freeze. And you feel compelled to stand in place. You can't move. Now, Toby. Or Kristen.
I am Toby.
This is real bad.
What's up?
Well, it's Toby's turn.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought you were doing something to Toby. Sorry.
No, I just thought we'd have a little chat while this was going on.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Toby's gonna look back. He was hoping everybody would just run away, but looking back, does he see that one creature is bigger than the other, or are they kind of all the same size?
Yeah, no, it looks like a swarm of rats. Is essentially what you're seeing here.
He is just gonna select one and cast Dissonant Whispers.
Okay.
on one. So
What kind of saving throw is that?
wisdom.
Okay, natural 2, so I'm sure that
Oh
is
yeah.
effective. So.
And take all these damage. So 3d6.
Okay.
So 12 points of psychic damage.
Psychic damage. Okay.
For one. Yeah. Okay. Just
Alright. As you cast this, I'm going to assume these audible whispers kind of fill the corridor. And everyone hears it, but not everyone is affected by it. And you hear just like lots of, kind of like squealing and squeaking, from down there. And you see just kind of like a wave of this swarm just sort of like shudder and go still. The light that was emanating from that bit of the swarm goes out. And that happens. Eric.
Okay, so you said there's like a lot of debris in this hallway, right?
Yes.
Is there anything like timber or like old wood, that kind of stuff?
No, most of it is kind of like the stone that's kind of like crumbled away from the ceiling above you.
Okay. Changes that idea. So trying to think of an idea here. Huh, that's weird, but it might work. This is gonna be real dumb. So I'm just gonna put the sword away, pull out a torch, light it, and start using that as a weapon.
Okay, so you're kind of like, instead of retreating, now you're advancing forward. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, because I don't know what's happening to Wynn and or Wallace right now. I don't know he's been frozen.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that they're not following.
Yeah.
So I
can tell you that they're about 60 feet away from you right now.
Oh, they're that far?
Yeah. They didn't advance any closer.
Damn it, I wish I had an oil flask on me. Old school Molotov cocktails would be so nice right now. But yeah, no, I'm just gonna I'll pull out a torch, light it, and throw it and see if I can land it in the swarm and see if I can catch anything.
Okay. Give me a strike roll. You may use D20 plus your dex. I don't think you're proficient with that, but you...
So D20 minus my dex.
D20 minus your dex. Adjusted by your dex.
13.
13? Alright. Let's say... I don't know. What sounds reasonable for torch damage? 1d6 generous?
Sure. Sounds good to me. Roll to 4.
Alright.
So 4 points of fire damage.
Okay, as you launch it, it lands within the swarm, and you see that it catches fire within the area that it's in. The whole swarm doesn't go up, but you see that, several of these rats are running around a flame now.
No, I can only hope they set some more of their friends on fire. That's as good as I got.
When
Yeah.
Wallace has turned towards you,
Oh
is
god.
staring directly at you, and is just standing there. You may make your attack roll with advantage.
Oh my god.
It's bad.
16.
That'll hit.
Alright. Give damage.
6.
6 damage. You're attacking with a scimitar, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Oh dear.
Toby,
Oh my goodness.
give me a perception roll, real quick.
Okay. Ah, 6.
Okay. Alright.
Brr.
Wallace, as per last round, you want to move, but you can't force your body to do it. Now, I know you're affected at least for this turn, but let me check and see if or when you might get an additional save versus that, because I don't remember.
If it's command, it only follows the command on its next turn.
Okay. Alright then, so that's for this turn. You're standing still. Alright. Back up to the top of the round. Eric.
Time for the rats. Not again. Don't do this to me.
Make an intelligence roll.
Okay. So that's a 16.
16. Okay. You heard, much as you have before, not the same kind of voice, amongst the chittering and the squeaks, telling you to flee, flee. But you don't feel compelled to. Right. And as you hear this, you notice the swarm beginning to recede away from you. Kristen, it's Toby's turn. You have not noticed wind striking Wallace.
Oh, I haven't noticed.
That's what you were rolling for last time. On the 6.
And haven't noticed the rats retreating, or
Yeah, they're about 90 feet away from you now.
oh, okay. Well, he'll run back and see if why they haven't caught up yet, or see if they're okay. So he'll run back and like try to, grab one of their fingers and like kind of drag them back.
Oh, your friends? When would be the closest one to you?
Yeah, he'll try to go and like, come on, like, let's go.
Okay. All right. I believe it was Jess Wynn's turn next, I think.
No.
Or was it Eric's turn?
Actually, it'd be mine.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, Jess. Eric, what do you wish to do?
So you said I noticed the rats starting to leave, right?
Yes.
Are they just like fleeing down the hallway we're trying to leave down, or are they like disappearing into spaces and like actually getting out of the hallway?
Yeah, they are going back further down the hallway, but you see some of them like going into holes within the stonework, etc.
Okay.
So yes and yes.
Are they... This would be an interesting idea. Are they within 60 feet of me?
At this point,
90 feet of Toby.
They were within 90 feet of Toby. Actually, they might have been further away because I think they were 60 feet away from you initially, is what I said, and you were closer to them. And then they moved 30 feet back from that. So they're 90 feet away from you, further from Toby, I assume.
Okay. And I've seen Wynn attack at this point.
I mean, you can give me a perception.
Okay. Perception. It's 12.
12. You didn't see it, but you did hear kind of like you're familiar with the sound of like a glancing blow from a sword, and also you heard Wallace, kind of like you've seen him damaged enough to kind of like know what he sounds like when he's in pain from damage, and you did hear that.
Okay. All right. So I would know. I would have heard him hurt. Heard the sword. Can I see that Wynn's holding her scimitar right now?
Yeah, when you turn around, she's completely squared off against him. Looks like she's about to take another strike.
I just, seeing that the rats are leaving, I'm just gonna walk up to her and be like, "Sorry." Clock her over the head with the pommel of the long sword.
Okay.
Strike. See if it snaps her out of it. Yeah, that's a 19 hit.
All right.
That hits, yeah.
Give damage. I'm assuming you're doing kind of a non-lethal damage on her.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, like, basically spook her out of it because I can kind of suspect what's going on, but not really. That's 10 points.
All right. Wynn takes 10 points of damage. She doesn't lose consciousness. And she still is compelled by this violent rage.
Well, that was my one idea. Wallace.
I can move now, can't I?
Yep.
Well, did
I'm gonna cast.
I think
I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt at Wynn.
all right?
Natural 20.
I hate to do this to you, Lewis, but you're within melee over.
Can't do that when
You'd have to roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, it's disadvantage.
Ranged attacks and melee
Okay.
disadvantage. Sorry.
15.
What was that? Okay.
15. Right. So what is it? 4d6. An advantage on my neck.
Did he just freeze again?
Yes, he did.
It's okay. He'll come back in a sec.
All
Yeah.
right.
Lewis, if you can hear us, you're frozen. We're not hearing you.
Oh,
Frame.
Still nothing.
sorry, you got it stuck in my head now. Can't go any longer though. Yeetus. Oh yeah, he is so frozen.
All right. I'm going to kick us over to break until we get him back. Then.
He's at 14 points. And he'll be back in 2 seconds.
And that drops me to 0.
Damn.
Okay. So we'll take a break until we get him back, and then we'll pick up from that moment.
Alright. Oh.
Was I not quite unconscious there?
Yep.
Just as well I did not get my crit hit on that, or you'd be dead, man.
Okay, so you froze for just a little bit, but I understood that you did enough damage to knock Wynn unconscious. So,
Yes.
and that was with your guiding bolt. Is that what you were using? You said.
Yeah.
So tell us what that looks like as you employed it upon your friend. Enemy.
You see this, like the chrysalis that's like around my neck, it kind of flashes purple, and like the moth kind of like, it kind of like comes off the necklace, and I kind of just push that forward, and it like slams into her chest.
Okay. So as it slams into her chest, you just completely see Wynn's eyes go blank, a dead stare, and she is forcefully shoved backwards onto the ground and lies there still.
After doing that, Wallace is like kind of like he's really a bit messed up in the head at this point, and that wasn't like, that was almost instinctual, like not like he meant it, he kind of just done it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look at Wallace and just be like, "You heard it too, right?"
Yeah,
I'm guessing she did as well.
I'm guessing so.
I'm gonna reach down and I'm gonna drop one point of lay on hands to wake her up so she's not dying.
Thank you.
I mean, I had to spare the dying cantrip.
Yeah, me too. Yay.
Give me just a second.
Oh, are you checking to see if it continues after she's unconscious?
I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh no, that's real bad.
Oh, I'm gonna have to knock her out again.
If we're still on initiative, that was my action to wake her up. Which means I can't just go and knock her out again.
Thank you.
Oh good, I'll wait to kill you again. I feel bad for Wynn. This is not
Shit, man. I'm so sorry, Jess.
like it's one thing for me to get charmed because at least Kay is kind of tanky and is used to getting hurt. Like,
Yeah, Wynn's not.
no.
Oh, okay, all right. I should have done this earlier. My apologies. But you get a saving throw. Another saving throw.
Intelligence, correct?
Let me make sure I told you right on that. Yes, it should be an intelligence. Yeah.
I got a nat 20.
Okay. All right. So you regain consciousness, though you're terribly injured and sore, and you don't feel compelled to attack your friend any longer.
Okay.
And you're looking up at them. You are lying on the ground.
It's been a fun experience, huh?
Did I just... I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
I meant to do that. I'm gonna like coldly kind of just continue walking down the
Wait,
corridor looking for any other rats.
don't go too far. If they charm you too, we're all screwed. And I'm just gonna look down at Wynn and just be like, right, you going to try and kill us again?
No?
Good.
No?
And I'll help her up and I'll put 9 more points of lay on hands into her, so she's up to 10.
Okay. All right. You do that. Wallace walks further down the corridor, and you'll go down a few hundred feet. No signs of any swarm down here, but as you go down, you will see several rat corpses seared, smushed, smashed, set aflame, Looks like they've been injured in different ways. Give me a perception roll.
So that's a 14.
14. We'll take your 16, but still. Beyond that, you don't really see anything.
Okay.
You continue on, and it will come to kind of like an end. And there's a set of, not a set, there's a ladder, wooden ladder, leading up to a grating above you. And you can see, and you saw this from a distance, light bleeding through the grating.
I'm just going to turn back to them and shout, this looks to be the exit.
Finally. I'm just kind of... I'll go up last. I'll go up last, because I don't want something chasing us up the ladder.
Okay. All right. So whoever goes up first will need to give me a strength check for lifting the grating.
I would imagine I would, considering I went to it first.
Okay.
10.
Okay. 10 is all you really need. You know, it's metal. There's some heft behind it, but you're able to hold on with the ladder with one hand and press it up and move it out of the way with the other. All right. So you exit. Who's going up second?
Wynn really wants to get out of there now.
Okay. And then Toby and
Give me a
Sergey.
boost.
Right. You all manage to climb out of this tunnel, this corridor, and when you exit within this grove. And it's kind of like, this clearing surrounded by trees. And as you're looking around, you see kind of a wooden shed structure built against one of the trees. You also see a large kind of like block of wood set against the ground that has kind of like a recess in it. And you've probably seen this before, an executioner's block, and as you look at it, you definitely notice that it has been bloodied. Blood stains the wood. And you also notice around the clearing what appears to be signs of more recently dug graves. And that's what you see within the clearing. And I'd say perhaps, since we're about 4 minutes away from 10, it'd be good to stop you here in the clearing.
Okay.
And we'll pick up
Just
from
stop
here.
where there's a bunch of graves.
Right.
No big deal.
No big deal. Nothing to see here. You probably just want to leave the clearing
Executioner
immediately.
block, whatever.
I'm fine with the executioner's block. It's the
Agree.
recently dug graves that is
Yeah.
a bit
This is
worrisome.
fine.
Wallace is considering jumping in one, to be honest, at this point.
Oh man.
Just cut out the middleman. Just get in there.
Yeah. So we'll pause here.
Alright.
We'll pick up here next week. Again, I don't think Shondell will be back with us next week. But you guys will pick the adventure back up. Before we go, let's see if anybody has anything they want to say. So Jess, why don't you start us off tonight?
All right. My shop is open now on Etsy. You can find me on Twitter and Etsy. On Twitter at at palace_fairy. And I just the other day finished Dice Box, which will be going up on Etsy very soon.
Pretty
Pretty
cool.
much as soon as I get some pictures of it.
Gimme.
Awesome. All right, Lewis, what about you, sir?
Shout out to the DM Collective and follow me on Twitter at DM Nexus.
All right, Kristen.
You can find me on Twitter, the IT Pirate now. I got the latest rat episode of my D&D Monster Lore podcast, Roll for Lore. Just picked up a Sunday game on Pro Restarter's channel. It's a cipher system. It's futuristic and kind of crazy, and I love it. So yeah, the VOD from last night's probably up, and I'll be doing a D&D pub crawl this Saturday, so expect lots of fun pictures from that, and yeah, building a lot of stuff and props for it. So yeah, would love to share it with everyone and yeah, hear from you guys.
Super awesome. Eric.
You can find me on Twitter and most everywhere else at Eldritch Crow. And you can find me as part of the Playcasters Discord, so any other podcasters, streamers of TTRPG content, come find us there. Just a place for all of us to talk shop. Beyond that, shout out to World Anvil for just kind of being awesome, and their Discord server is full of very supportive and genuinely awesome folks. So I've been hanging out in that server for a while, and a bunch of cool people. Beyond that, you can find me here on Mondays, and the Dice Nights podcast that I'm a part of is on a 2-week break while we prep our second season, because somehow we got 20 episodes through. So we're going to be coming back to that in, I think, 2 weeks' time. Mostly just because we all have life stuff going on. So you can keep an eye for us on Podbean, and yeah.
All right, cool beans. And I'm RJ Cresswell. You can find me on Twitter at RJ_Cresswell. I do some giveaways there, occasionally post art and minis and things like that. And then I obviously do this stream with you all. And if you watch this, we thank you very much. And as always, sincerely thank you all. I really enjoy playing with you. And I look forward to seeing you next week here. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Our stream is the Tainted Lands Mist of Mournton. And if you watch this, again, we thank you very much. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.